Alright, got another PGA DFS video here for you guys, so welcome back in. This week we got the 2018 Greenbrier Classic, or as they're calling it this year, a military tribute at the Greenbrier. Really not a bad week last week. Did pick the winner again, 17 straight weeks of having the winner in our player pool, so that was really good. We had him a lot on Yahoo and FanDuel. He was just too cheap on those sites, so that just wants me to remind you guys that use this information and then use it on the other sites to see which players are elite value plays. Another one was Bo Hostler on Yahoo. He was just way too cheap, and I'm going to touch on another key value play on Yahoo later on in this video. But overall, it was a really good week. We only had 2 of our players miss a cut. 100% of our value plays made the cut. My goal for this week is going to be to get 100% of the players through the cut. Kind of harder to do on this field because it's kind of a tricky event. There's no real predictive stat of who's going to do the best, but the stat that I'm going to be using the most is going to be course history, actually, which I do not normally like to do. So I'm going to mix course history in with current form. Then I'm also going to be doing using these other stats like strokes gained off tee, strokes gained approach, putting, strokes gained around green. So those are kind of going to be the stats I'm going to be using. But getting to the high tier players here, I did leave off some really good players, and really all these guys in the high tier you could kind of make an argument for. Left off Phil, left off Charles Howell, which I'll probably have in a cash build here or there. And then the guy I want to touch on that you should play on Yahoo because he's an extreme value play is going to be Joaquin Niemann. He's just way too cheap on there, so if you're going to be wanting to play him on that site. But let's get into the high tier players that I like. It's going to be Tony Finau. Obviously he's the highest priced guy, but he's coming off a T7 last year, and then in 2015 a T13. He's 28th in strokes gained approach, so I do like that. And then you got Brian Harman. He's been another guy that I can't quit. He's got the best overall game in this field, I think, and then he's just coming off. He has the most top 10s out of this whole field as well. Bubba Watson's coming off that victory. He has 0 missed cuts at this event in the last 4 years, so I do really like him as well. JB Holmes and Russell Henley are just both guys that have great course history here, so I can see why you would want to play them. And Russell Henley is just in great form as well, so you could definitely play him. Really, none of those guys are going to be bad options. And the same could kind of be said for these players in the mid-tier here. Kevin Streelman's a guy that he's just been a cut maker. He's made 18 out of 21 cuts. He's had a top 25 in all the categories I'm looking at, except putting. He had a T29 last year at this course. Keegan Bradley has pretty good course history as well, a T50, T29, T4. He's number 1 in strokes gained approach, and he has 14 out of 17 made cuts this year. I mentioned Brian Harman being a guy I can't quit, so is Brian Gay. Maybe it's the Brian thing, but those two have just been really good plays for me this whole year. And then Kevin Chappell, he's going to be more of a tournament option, but you could definitely play him if you want to. He is a good course fit, and he does have good course history. Again, to the lower tier plays here, Brandon Hagee. He's a guy who finished T18 last year. He's a big bomber off the tee there. The last event he played in was a Web.com event about 2 weeks ago. He finished T2 there, so he is in good current form. Then these other guys like David Leamer, Tyler Duncan, Brandon Harkins, even James Hahn, they're all going to be more core cash plays for me at this lower end. They are cut makers right now. They're in good form. They probably won't win it. They'll maybe get to a T20, but they're all guys I think are going to make the cut. And then Seamus Power is a guy a lot of people in the DFS industry were on last week. I was not. So I think that's going to lower his ownership, and maybe they were just a week too early, and I can see why I like him this year. He's 3 straight made cuts, T50 last year. Alright, getting to the tournament plays here. Once again, these are just the range finders. If you're in that area and you need someone to fit that salary, these are not bad options. We have a bunch of guys that have really good course history. Streb, Stroud, and Stefani. Streb is coming off of 2 straight, tied for 2s at this course. And then the other guys have all finished within the top 60 the last 4 years here at this course. So really not bad options. But I want to get into the value plays here. David Hearn, you could definitely go with him. He's had a T14, T2, and T64 at this course. He's coming off of made cut last week, so obviously he's not in the best form. These are low value plays. Fabian Gomez is the guy I want to touch on though. 9 out of 10 straight cuts, so really in good current form. John Huh, he's 4 out of 5 straight cuts. Course history wise, he's T45 and T54 out of the last 2 times he's played this course. And then Scott Brown's just a big hitter. I think he's a guy that could definitely go up and get a T20 or better. Really not a bad option. Let's get into the players, the sample lineup that I made for you guys. really, this is going to change by the end of the week, like it always does. But these are kind of guys, like I said, that I can't quit with Brian Harmon and Brian Gay. And then just some people that I think are going to be cut makers, which I think you're going to want this week. It's going to be more random. Maybe the course history doesn't hold up. But I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe like always. I want 20 likes on the video. That'd be great. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good week.